All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We are experiencing a little bitty technical difficulty this morning, but that's all right. Those who are tuning in either through YouTube or through our church website, I'm grateful. Those of you who are tuning in to Facebook Live, please share it and invite others to join us and to be a part of it. I do not want you to miss today's lesson. All of these lessons have been powerful. All of these lessons just have been convicting, but today's lesson is a lesson that we shouted all the other weeks, but today's lesson is a lesson on restoration and how God restores, Go ahead and just type in restoration. God is a restorer. Restoration, and God is a restorer. I want you to believe that. I want you to embrace that. I want you to accept that. And I want you to shout over the fact that God is a restorer. And today, we're coming out of the book of Zephaniah. And the title of the Sunday school lesson is A Vision of Restoration. A Vision of Restoration. This is Adrena Alexander, and I am bringing to you this morning the Sunday school lesson. And the text comes out of Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 14 through 20. So please follow along with me. And this morning I'm coming from the NIV, the New International Translation, the NIV translation. That's Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 14 through 20. Go ahead and share the broadcast, do a watch party, invite others to join us on this morning. Somebody type in restoration. Woo, right there. That's your shout. I shouted all the way here this morning. Restoration. God is the restorer. Lord, thank you for being a restorer. And what we see happening here, just like we've seen in the other weeks, yet again, the Israelites, Jerusalem, they are not being obedient. They're doing what they want to do. And as a result of that, they are experiencing God's wrath. Zephaniah here being a minor prophet, not minor because what he didn't have, because of what his vision was not major like the others, but minor in the sense of his book is only three chapters, and his text is limited but powerful. So that's why we say the minor prophet, meaning it's very little information, but yet a lot of information and powerful needed information. So Zephaniah is the prophet during the time of King Josiah. And we see here where the Israelites were in Babylonian captivity for 70 years. And so he has a vision. He starts off in chapter 1 and he's telling them about the day of wrath, his vision of the day of wrath and what God is going to do. By the time we get to chapter 3 of Zephaniah, he's given them a ray of hope. And I just want you to think about this for a moment. Have you ever done something wrong and there were consequences? Well, you say, well, that's a funny question. I already know the answer. The answer is yes. We've done things in life and there were consequences. We do things in life and there are consequences when we do things wrong. Consequences even when we do things good. But when we don't do the right thing, there are consequences to that wrong behavior, but God is a God that restores. So what is happening here in Zephaniah chapter 3? Well, we look at hope, but I have to give you a little background for you to understand what the people were doing to get them to that point. When we look at Zephaniah chapter 1, beginning at verse 4, here again, I'm in the NIV, it says, I will stretch out my hand against Judah. You say, listen what he's prophesying. I'm going to stretch out my hand against my people. But wait a minute. And against all who live in Jerusalem. I will cut off from this place every remnant of Baal, the names of the pagan and the idolatrous priest, those who bow down on the roofs to worship the starry host. Oh Lord, I know some of us, we get into reading the stars and the zodiac and all this kind of stuff. God says, wait a minute, I'm getting ready to deal with my people in Zephaniah, the book of Zephaniah, who are participating in such activity. Look what he says, those who bow down and swear by the Lord. Look at verse 6, those who turn back from following the Lord and neither seek the Lord nor inquire of him. So my people, Judah, Jerusalem, Zion, All those of you who are my people, I'm getting ready to come against you for your behavior and what you're doing, your idolatrous type of worship. Well, then when we get to chapter 3, before we get into the hope, let's look at beginning at verse 1. Woe to the city of the oppressors, rebellious and defiled. She obeys no one. She accepts no correction. She does not trust in the Lord. She does not draw near to her God. Her officials are roaring lions. Her rulers are evening wolves who leave nothing for the morning. Her prophets are arrogant. They are treacherous men. Her priests profane the sanctuary and do violence to the law. The Lord within her is righteous. He does no wrong. Morning by morning, he dispenses his justice. What are we saying here? Now, see, he looked at the people. Now here at the beginning of verse 3, he's talking about the leaders, the priest, the profane behavior that's taking place. Look at verses 6 and 7. I've cut off the nations. Their strongholds are demolished. I've left their streets deserted. No one is passing through. Their cities are destroyed. No one will be left. No one at all. Now watch this. Now let's go down to beginning at verse 14. Now, so we see the behavior. We see the pattern. We see how God got on the priests. We see how God's wrath showed against the people. Now Zephaniah, which is a little different than the other prophets, he's now getting ready to give people hope, a vision of restoration. Beloved, let me tell you something. Embrace this lesson for you yourself today, for you personally today. And believe, oh my, believe that God is a restorer. I don't care what your past is. I don't care what you've done in life. I don't care what you have experienced. I don't care about the consequence. I don't care who knows. I don't care about your reputation or what has taken place. God can restore and is a restorer. Watch what happens here. Beginning at verse 14. After we look at Zephaniah's chapter 1 and 2 in the beginning of 3, and it talks about all that the people have done and what God's going to do. Woo! It's a time for shouting right here. He opens up here with that verse by saying, sing. That word in the Hebrew is a word ranan, which means give a joyous shout. Why are you giving a joyous shout? Because I'm about to be restored. Go ahead and just touch yourself and just type in, I'm about to be restored. I'm getting ready to experience the restoration of God. I know he's a restorer. So he's saying, shout, O daughter of Zion. Shout out loud, O Israel. He's getting ready to restore. So he's prepping the people. He said, go ahead and shout. So what we see happening here in verses 14 and 15, Zion themselves, Jerusalem themselves, they're going to sing a song of joy. How dare you, when God delivers you out of something, don't give a shout? How dare you, when God brings you out of something, not give God some kind of praise? The praise that you give him right there is ranan. That's a shout. Last time I checked, that's some noise. So when you have been delivered out of something, you should be making some noise. That's why I don't understand how people, last week I talked about having a pew captain in church once we return and we actually get in the building. That's why I don't understand why people can go through something and they're sitting there quietly. I just want to just give them a little pinch and a little nudge and ask the question, just between you and I, has God not done anything for you? You are awfully quiet. Here, they are singing a song because the prophet is giving them a prophetic word of restoration. And let me tell you, I don't believe things just happen by accident. I believe God ordains and he navigates, he allows, and he orchestrates things. And so what I'm believing, this word here, I don't even know when this was printed. I don't know when they printed the books, but I do believe this is an on-time word. This is a Rhema word for us today, that we understand that in this COVID-19 season, God is going to restore. Woo! Watch this, watch this. Sing, O daughter of Zion. Shout aloud, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away your punishment. Okay, wait. Zephaniah is getting ready to give them 3 things right here that they should be shouting aloud for. Look what he says. The Lord has taken away your punishment. Remember, they were experiencing God's wrath because of their behavior. Because of their disobedience, they were experiencing some consequences. All right. So Zephaniah here is telling them, first he tells them to shout, rejoice, and all of this. And then he says why. He gives them the reason why. One, the Lord has taken away your punishment. Beloved, right there, has the Lord ever taken away your punishment? Come on now, come on. But one thing that just is a pet peeve of mine are these saints who are so saved. They have never done anything. They've never experienced anything. They just live so righteous and so good every day. Come on, y'all. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Has the Lord ever taken away the punishment that you experienced by something that you did yourself that you deserve? It's called grace. It's called mercy. It's called you did it and you did not even get what you should have gotten because of his grace and his mercy. Right there. Look what he says. The Lord has taken away your punishment. One. Secondly, he's turned back your enemy. The Babylonians who had you in captivity, all of that, maybe even through the Assyrians, all of that you have experienced, the Lord has removed your enemy. Anybody, you can raise your hand and say, let me tell you from a personal testimony, I saw the Lord remove my enemy. I felt the Lord remove my enemy. I've experienced that the Lord removed my enemy. Come on, somebody. See right there. That's where you shout. That's where you come in and you do a Ranan kind of praise. That's where you're really loud. That's where you can be in the grocery store line and you're shouting and giving God praise and everybody's side-eyeing you like, oh boy, what is wrong with her? That's just when you had that moment and you understood and you were grateful that the Lord removed the enemy and turned the enemy back. Look at the third reason he's given them there, still in verse 15. The Lord, the King of Israel, is with you. Oh my, the Lord is there. That's what you call Jehovah Shammah. That's when we understand that God is here. God is there. God is an ever-present help in a time of trouble. So he gives them three reasons right there why they should be shouting, why they should be making a lot of noise about God. I'm going to give them to you again. Look what he did. He took away the punishment. He turned back your enemy and he is with you. That's your three reasons right there. That's your three reasons right there. God took away the punishment. He turned back your enemy and he is with you. So that's their song that they're singing. So now God sings a song of joy to his people. Oh, this is like a love letter. This is like God now loving on them. Yes, you experienced my wrath. Yes, you deserved it because of what you had done. So that's why you were in exile. That's why you were in captivity with the Babylonians. But he says, through Zephaniah, a vision of hope. Watch this. Watch this. The Lord your God. Oh, 16, I'm skipping. On that day, they will say to Jerusalem, do not fear, O Zion. On what day? The day of deliverance. On what day? That day of restoration. So Zephaniah is saying here, on that day, and beloved, I'm in agreement with you and I'm believing God for you that if you need restoration right now, that God on that day will do it for you and you're going to experience that. I believe this is a prophetic word for today. I don't think it just happened to fall in the Sunday school lesson. I believe that God is speaking to us through Zephaniah today. Watch this. On that day, they will be freed from Jerusalem. Do not fear, O Zion. Look what he says. Do not let your hands hang limp. He's trying to encourage them. You ever see people who feel defeated or who feel helpless and hopeless and they're kind of walking around, they look a little limp. It's kind of like, it's like no energy or they're trying to give up or something. He said, no. Don't let your hands hang limp. No, I'm giving you a good word. I'm letting you know God is going to restore. And look, beloved, I'm telling you this morning, do not let your hands hang limp. Be encouraged. I know you probably can't see your way out. I know you're thinking, what's in it for me? How am I going to get out of this? I know you're probably maybe looking around trying to figure out, oh my, how am I going to get through this? This is the word for you. Do not let your hands hang limp. Do not fear. God is with you. God will take away what you're experiencing. Watch this. Look at verse 17. The Lord your God is with you. Did he not already say that? So it's kind of like Zephaniah is saying, wait a minute, if you didn't get it, If you don't understand it, let me tell you one more time. Let me tell you again. The Lord your God, he is with you. He is Jehovah Shammah. He is Yahweh Shammah. He is with you. Be encouraged. Restoration is on the way. Somebody just go ahead and type in right there. Restoration is on the way. Just go ahead. Hey, look, are you sitting next to somebody? Tell your neighbor, restoration is on the way. See, I'm already ready for church. Tell your neighbor restoration is on the way. Look what he says there in 17. The Lord your God is with you. He's telling them. He is mighty to save. Whoo, how many of y'all believe that? How many of you believe he is El Elyon? He is mighty to save. He is an almighty God. He is mighty to save. So he's encouraging them. Listen, he's coming. Zephaniah is coming with this vision of restoration. He's coming as an encourager. He's coming to tell them, listen, God's going to do this for you. That's why he opened up before he even told them all this. He told them, go ahead and shout. You know, anybody, I'm like that. I'm like that. Anybody in here, you have a premature shout. It's just like you can feel something good in your spirit. You don't even know what it is yet, but you just kind of feel it in your spirit. So you just shout in advance. That's what they did. And so now he's building it and he's developing it for them. Look what he says. The Lord is with you. He's mighty to save. He's telling them. And I'm telling you, I'm telling us as God's people, he's mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. See, that's like a love letter. Zephaniah is telling us how God feels and how he's going to embrace us and saturate us with his love and how we can feel it, even in the midst of it, how we can feel it. My prayer is if you're experiencing something that you are quieted with the love of God, that you feel him, feel his presence, that you understand he delights in you, beloved. He's mighty to save. He's right there with you. Look what it says. He will rejoice over you with singing. So God himself, when he delivers his people, he himself sings a song and he himself is singing and he's praising with us. He's praising with them. Isn't that awesome? We're singing, we're shouting, we're praising, and God is right there singing. Ooh, this is delicious. Look at this. Look at 18. The sorrows for the appointed feast I will remove from you. This is the vision of restoration. Look what he's getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to remove the sorrows. Yes, you were in captivity. Yes, you experienced the wrath. Yes, you were disobedient. And that were those things that you experienced, those were the consequences to the disobedience. But look, he's turning it around. He's turning it around. He's restoring. Look what he says. I will remove from you. They are a burden and a reproach to you. I'm getting ready to lift. What is he doing? I'm getting ready to remove your sorrows. Beloved, can you take that word for you today? Can you accept that word for you today? Can you accept this prophetic word that Zephaniah was given to the daughters of Zion and to Jerusalem back then? Can you accept that for yourself today? Look, the sorrows for the appointed feast, I'm going to remove them from you. They are a burden. Do you know that he is a burden bearer and a heavy load sharer? That's what the older saints used to be. Do you know that he's a bridge over troubled waters? He's that God. So he's saying he's going to remove the burden and the reproach from you. Look what he says at 19. At that time, I will deal with all who oppressed you. God fights our battles. People who have oppressed us, just like the oppressors then. See, even though they were in Babylonian captivity, the Babylonians just kind of overdid it, okay? So he's saying, with all who oppressed you, I'm going to deal with that. Beloved, if you've experienced something, this is your prophetic word right here. This is your prophetic word. That around for you and restore. He's going to fix that for you. He's a God that fights our battles. He is on the battlefield right now. Watch this. At that time, I will deal. God himself says, haven't we seen this in our other lessons? God himself says, I will deal with the oppressed, those who oppressed you. I will deal with them. What? Vengeance is mine. You already know. Look, I will rescue the lame and gather those who have been scattered. He's talking about some of them were in exile. And some of them had just kind of been the remnant and left over. So now he's talking about what he's going to do for everybody. I will rescue the lame. I'll gather those who have been scattered. I will give them praise and honor. Wait a minute. People saw them in captivity. People saw the practices, the things that they were doing wrong. Wait a minute. Let me bring it home for you. Do people know? Do some people know some of the things you've done? Do some people know some of the shame? Did what you do wrong, was it made public? Did people put it on social media? Was your name in the paper and you were embarrassed? Was it a court situation? Was it all of this? Wait a minute. Look what he's saying. It was public. So in public, I'm going to praise and honor your name. I don't want, wait. Let me not get ahead of myself. Let me finish reading and I want to develop that. I will give them praise and honor in every land where they were put to shame. That's where I am right there. In other words, the people here were embarrassed. They were humiliated. They were put in positions where they were made to be shamed. Okay? And so what God is saying that he's doing for them, he says, all of those people, I'm going to rescue them. He said, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them praise and honor. So just like on one side they were shamed through their oppressors, he says, I'm going to bring them praise and honor. Beloved, can you accept this prophetic word this morning? Just like you may have been shamed, believe God for developing your name and changing your name and building back up your reputation. Can you believe God for that? That he will give your name praise and honor? Can you believe that? Can you accept the prophetic word that Zephaniah is given to them, but yet it is for us? I just believe this prophetic word is for us today, that he will give praise and honor. Now look at this. Look at verse 20. Simply delicious. Look at this. At that time, I will gather you. At that time, I will bring you home. See, the people were scattered. They were still, he was bringing them in. Those who were exiled, he said they were scattered. They were exiled. They were places. He said, but listen, I'm bringing you back. I'm bringing you back. I'm bringing you in. Can you believe that? Can you believe that this prophetic word is for you today and that God is calling you in? He's calling you to restoration. Look what he says. At that time, I will gather you. At that time, I will bring you home. I will give you honor and praise. Did he not say something similar in 19? He says, what was done to you publicly and what was done to you openly, I'm going to give you praise and honor, or honor and praise. I'm calling you back in. No. You're my children. I'm taking you from under that hand of that oppressor. I'm changing your situation and I'm bringing you back in. Look what he says. Among all the peoples of the earth, when I restore your fortunes before your very eyes. He said, when I restore your fortunes before your very eyes, I'm going to restore you in front of them, just like you were oppressed publicly and openly. Beloved, you got to receive that. You've got to believe and receive, just like Zephaniah is saying that God was going to restore them. I believe God is restoring. I believe that. And let me tell you, in Hebrews, it talks about how the new covenant is built on better promises. I believe that. That's for us today. So don't you know, just like God was allowed Zephaniah to give a vision of restoration and a prophetic word over the people, telling them that he was going to restore them, that the promises, the new covenant believers, we are new covenant believers. We have better promises today, that he is the same God that will restore us today. Beloved, he's going to give praise and honor. He's going to restore. Can you receive that this morning? Can you receive that this morning? Don't walk limp. Don't walk lame. Don't walk believing that there is no hope, that God is not there. Look what Zephaniah said. He is there. He is with you. He knows how you feel. He knows what you're experiencing. He knows your reputation has been ruined. He knows you've lost a lot in the process. He knows that you're right now you're building and you're coming back. He knows how you feel. You may feel some depression or some anxiety. He knows all of that. I stopped by for a few minutes to just tell you, beloved, that God is a restorer. And just like he did it for the daughters of Zion, just like he did it for those oppressed, the Jerusalem people and Israelites, he will do it for us. He will do it for you, and he will do it for me. Just like it was done in a public place of shame, God will honor and praise you and restore you publicly for those, your eyes to see, and for the audience around you who maybe gave up, who maybe was questioning your belief in God. He's going to restore, and they'll be able to see it as well. My, this was delicious. Somebody just go ahead and type in restoration. God is a restorer. God is a restorer. Join me today at 2 p.m. for my radio broadcast and empowering word on 93.5. If you're in the Lake Charles area, you just can listen to it on the radio. If not, download the app, KPM 93.5. Until next time, God bless you. God is a restorer. He's a restorer.